Right, guys, welcome back. Episode 23.
Episode 23.
Uncle Jordan.
Yeah. We in the zone like the homie 2-3. Jordan or James. Jordan or James.
My mother would tell me don't put on 23. She would say no one should wear that number anymore.
Tired.
That's what my mother says about the 23.
23 to Jordan, yeah. So yeah, man. First and foremost, thank you guys for your support. You know, it's been a tremendous journey. It's crazy, only 23 weeks, and it's like it feel like we've been doing this for like 5 years.
Everybody asks us the same thing. This has only been 6 months. Y'all haven't been doing this forever.
That's a fact.
This
That's
is
a fact.
23 episodes.
It's a great platform.
Appreciate that.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Nah, thank you. So yeah, today's a very extremely special episode. We actually was planning on speaking about a few things. But then we had like an hour-long conversation before, and it kind of shifted the conversation. I think this is gonna be a good one. So our man Chris Gotti, if you're not familiar, so Murder Inc. ran the music industry.
We was blessed
in the early 2000s,
Without,
right?
no
Like
question.
when I was in prep school, in high school, I couldn't turn on MTV or BET without Ja Rule or Sean T. Like it was crazy.
Killing TRL, killing 106 in Park. They destroyed it.
So you might know, obviously, Ja Rule, but Chris Gotti was one of the founding members.
Yeah, me and my brother, Irv Gotti. Irv, what up, boy?
Yeah, so Irv.
This is Irv's baby. I'm the uncle to Murder.
Queen's thing.
So heavy in the music business, but we're going to talk about a lot of other things outside of music, just business in general, because obviously this is a business podcast, so we want to equip you guys with all of the different tools that you need. So before we start, I want to tell a story how we actually met, because networking is powerful, right?
That's right.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Man.
So Chris, he does a lot of different things, right? He was a music exec. He ran a construction company. He invests in real estate. And another thing that he does is he's in the financial services industry. So anybody that listens to the podcast, I'm a financial advisor. So long story short, we got introduced through a mutual colleague. And he's like, you ever heard of Chris Gotti? I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm like, yeah, of course. He's like, I think you guys should meet. I might be able to work together. So we were, I don't even know if you remember this, but I have like an impeccable memory. So we were in LA at Greystone.
Oh, man.
Right? So
a nice club.
I know this story.
Yeah, Greystone.
Riri.
That's memory sharp too.
That's a fact. That's crazy. So we was in Greystone. Me and my man Mike was good. And so another one of our friends, shout out to DJ Sus one.
Yeah,
he's from
Sus.
Hometown hero for real.
Yeah, we from the same area. So Sus was DJing that night, and so we were in like the VIP area, right? So Chris was there, and I introduced myself to Chris, and I'm telling him, he's like, yeah, cool. So we exchanged numbers, and then when we got back to New York, we actually met in the office, and just a super humble dude. Like you could kind of just tell somebody's energy when you meet him. And that's the first thing that I noticed is that he's just real humble and just you can kind of feel like that energy of just organic and just a good dude.
Thank you.
So, but that night was crazy though, because Rihanna was definitely there.
I remember.
and
Riri.
Should I tell that story?
Tell a story, man, because this is a real good one. Shout out to the big homie.
So, all right. So my man Mike is there, and I'm telling him clubs close at like 2:00 in LA. They'll close early. So we from New York. Clubs close at like 4:30, right? 4. So it's like 1:30. The club is about to close, and the VIP section is like real small. Mm-hmm. So we in there. We right next to Chris, and like 3 feet away, I see Rihanna comes with her people. So I'm like, yo, Mike, that's Rihanna right there. He's like, that's not Rihanna. I'm looking right at her, like I see Rihanna. She's right there.
Facts.
So he told Sus, like, yo, that's Rihanna. So Sus obviously knows her. So Sus walks up to her, like, so he's in Sus's ear, like, yo, introduce me to Rihanna. And Sus kind of like ignored him. So Sus talked to her. So Mike tell me, like, yo, get your camera ready. I'm like, nah, don't do that.
Don't do it, bro.
Don't do it, bro. Like, get your camera ready. So, man, so he walked up to her, and I'm staying like 5 feet behind because I want to keep my distance.
We know how this gonna go.
And he's like, yo, he starts saying and he's like, can I get a picture? And the way she looked at him was so violently disrespectful.
She looked through him.
She's like, yeah.
the Barbados in there. It's the island girl.
So that the picture never got took. But shout out to Rihanna.
Shout out to Rihanna.
Shout out to Fenty, man.
She's doing big things.
Fenty's doing incredible.
She's blowing up right now.
God bless.
Million, I think it's 600 million.
Yeah, man. She don't worry about the music. Fenty is gonna take her out of this world.
Shout out to Jay Brown too. That's where they're helping.
Rock Nation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
incredible moves they making.
So all right, so we're gonna jump right into it. So like I said, my man Chris Murder Inc. ran them. I can't really, if you're not old enough to fully understand it, it's hard for me to actually say how big that they were. But you were telling me before, like y'all had like a #1 song on the radio or something like that for like 20 weeks.
Well, no, it's not just one song. It was multiple songs. So a lot of the misconception is they just think it was Murder Inc. But the reality, Irv as a producer was one of the biggest producers, if not the biggest at that time.
Right.
And we produced for
J-Lo.
Everybody. The industry. We literally produced for the industry. Irv was looked at as the fixer. So if you wasn't selling records, we called Irv Gotti, let me get a single or something, and next thing you know, you sold some records. So we was, I believe it's 48 weeks out of 52 weeks at #1 with multiple artists.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what you said. 48 weeks out of 52 weeks in a year.
That's a different type of run.
Murder Inc. had a song.
Imagine you do that, like you could understand how powerful we were, or just from that saying that, like every record exec, every label wanted to do business with you.
Yeah.
Because you was that hot. You're on the Billboard charts every week, and it's your music, your sound. Like, man, it was a great time.
30 million records sold. 30 million, right? 30 million?
We're more than that now, but yeah, who's counting?
So all right. But
we're over 40 million records sold.
But before the music industry started, you ran a construction company.
Yes.
So can we talk about that? Because that to me was real interesting. Where you told me that you were a millionaire before you got into music.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was me and my sister Tina. We found a general contractor that actually did demolition, and we wanted to do all of the building side of it, not the demo part, and cut a deal. Ken Frolic, Gateway Demolition, that was the name of the company. They're still existing. They're still out there. And he cut a deal, and we was able to bond these jobs. So if you didn't understand what I mean, why you need to be bonded, because you have to have the money for the job in case something goes wrong. So if the job is $5 million, you had to have $5 million, to cover that job, or a bond that would cover it for you, and you had to have the, all the assets that you might need to acquire the bond for you, and we didn't have it at the time. And he cut the deal, and we went on a nice little run with construction.
So while you were doing the construction, though, right? Like, so you learned a bunch of trades, right? So you pretty much did everything.
Everything. I like to tell everyone, I built everything but a bridge. Right? Think about that. I built high rises, buildings. I did streets. The roads and highways, parks. I mean, there's nothing I really didn't do from a construction standpoint. Right. And we did the concrete side, which is. So if you think of from a dollar standpoint, if there was a job to build a building, the biggest part of that job is the concrete, right? That's the foundation. That's all the walls. That's everything going up, the floors. And that's what we did as a black-owned company. It was crazy.
All self-taught.
All self-taught. And everything self-taught.
Because so you
I didn't go to school. So that's a big deal for me. Yeah. Like I always throw that out there because I let everyone know you could do it. Right. You don't have to go to school to learn. You could learn just on your own, but you got to have the will to learn, and I did.
Yeah, you definitely have to drive.
I'm glad you said that because we actually had an episode where we talked about college, and more people are saying, like, is college worth it, right? So we're not discouraging anybody from going to college, but there are ways to be successful if you don't go to college, right? So
college helps, right?
No, yeah. Well,
so let me answer that. Does college help? Do you agree that college helps?
It depends on the career.
I think it can help. It can help.
Okay.
It has the potential to help. I think.
When I think of myself, I don't look at myself as typical, average, right? I think, and only because I knew my drive when I watched these other people. Everyone doesn't have the same passion and devotion, dedication to do these things. So,
true.
Education is something to fall back on that could at least get you into a stability from a lifestyle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me, people talk to me all the time about that, and I'm like, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I had no clue. I filled out to be a sanitation, transit, police.
But but this is real. These are real jobs. Like especially like in our community, like a sanitation job is like hitting the lottery, right? Like
especially what?
Yeah.
Well, when you didn't go to school, this is what you did.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I'm glad you said that because it's like okay, you became a construction worker, right? But then
a laborer. 731 local 731.
You could have just called it a quits at that, right?
Right.
But what made you say okay? I learned construction from working construction and turned it into a business.
I actually, at a very young age, I looked at it as it's the trades. I talked to other laborers, and they was millionaires from being a laborer because that annuity that they had, they worked 20 plus years, but they had an annuity in their union that was over $1 million. So I'm sitting there like, damn, you could do this. You're digging. You got a shovel. That's all you got. You have over $1 million waiting, or you could access whenever you want. And that was very intriguing to me. And it was from a trade standpoint. So all I did was say, let me learn these trades. And it's something that they could never take away from you. I always had a chip on my shoulder because I didn't go to school. I'm 5 years in high school. Okay? So not because I wasn't smart. It's because I didn't go. I wasn't showing up. I just wouldn't go. But I'd go in, take a test, get 75, 85, and be out. It was just who I was. And it was like, I always look at it. Education is, damn, what if I did do it? Or okay, I don't have it. What am I going to do? Like, what do I have to fall back on? Like, if I got to support myself, my family, whatever it may be, without an education to go get a job. Because when you really start going to get a job, you realize they don't want you unless you have that piece of paper or you have something behind you. Like, when you go out just looking for jobs to pay for your life, there's only a few things that I looked at that you could actually make a really good living without the education. Again, when you talk about police, you could do that with those jobs.
Yeah.
Like a plumber.
Yeah, but a trade.
Yeah,
well,
trade.
That's one of the things we stress too. It's like everybody's not going to go to college. We know that.
Right.
So we got to.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. So we got.
It wasn't for me.
Teaching kids trades that they can still have a successful life with. And that's the thing that they don't show them, right?
Man.
They said, like, go to college, get a 4-year degree. I'm in education, so, like, yeah, that's a big proponent of it. I'm like, I know kids that coming out of high school, they're not going to college, so we got to prepare them for other things. Like, construction could be something, right? Like, where we're from, like we said, sanitation is huge.
And look,
right?
everything you're saying, it resonates with me so strongly because I always wanted to empower my people. Always talk to my block, tell them the kids what they should do, don't do. And when you think about from a work standpoint, again, that construction, it was a very good job for something you don't own. From talking from a 9-to-5 standpoint, you made a very good wage, and you could really grow it if you want to, like we did. And that's what I did. And again, I recommend it still to this day because you cannot take that skill set away. Someone has to build these homes. Someone has to build the roads, the highways, and they get paid a very good wage.
But you was entrepreneurial enough to see the flip side of the coin, where it is a good job to get paid. But the owner always makes more than the employee, no matter what business it is. NBA, construction, the owner's always going to make more money.
As the owner, you have the risk. You should get the reward.
Exactly.
It's that simple. I'm for all the NBA players making as much money, but the risk still lies with the owner.
Right. So because you had to start, I just thought about this. You did a family business twice. You did a family business with your sister, then you did a family business with your brother, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about that as well, as far, especially in our community, we don't understand the power of working together enough, but also the power of family businesses, right?
Yeah.
It's something that
they say it's the hardest thing to do.
Work with family.
You know what? I think that
it's very difficult.
So I work with my family.
I'm blessed.
Seriously,
I'm blessed.
I think it depends on your family, right? Because I mean, if you have a good relationship, if Troy, that's my brother, we work together, it's no problem. But if we have a bad relationship, then the business is gonna be bad.
This is gonna look a lot different.
I think.
Just one of you here on this mic.
Studio shut down.
But we gonna go to music, but let me ask you construction.
Sure.
So, because a lot of listeners. Everybody's not gonna be able to make it in music, right?
That's a fact.
Even though a lot of people do want to make it in music, but anybody can be a carpenter, a construction worker, a plumber, and anybody can own their own company, right? So for somebody that's a construction worker or just interested in being an entrepreneur, how did you get your own company as far as the construction? Because there's a lot that goes into it. As far as in New York City,
and we wasn't doing like homes like a local construction company. I didn't start off there. I started right off with city jobs, which you had to bid on and become. And honestly, that's my sister. Tina worked in the office of a company called Prue Construction, and she learned how the bids got put together. She didn't know how many men it would take or how to actually build the wall, but she knew exactly how many screws, pieces of rebar that went in the wall, which is how you got to the formula to make the bid. And then she also knew how, which is to me the hardest part of the business, to collect, to know how to do all the paperwork to get to the city offices to make sure they pay you when you finish a portion of the job, because you got paid portion by portion. And one day she just asked me, can you put up a wall and how many men do you need? And I answered her, and she was like, let's start our own company.
Yeah, and the honorable thing is that you didn't just look for anybody to hire. Like, you went back to the community. I
went back to my people again and educated them, taught them the trades. But they have to want it. Like, I can't give you that. You have to want it. I give you a job. I had to fire a lot of the guys too.
That's true.
Because they wasn't working. This is business. So if you're not working, I got someone else. And then you started realizing differences, like an older guy that might have kids is way more reliable than that young guy that's ready to go party every night.
You got something else.
You didn't think about those things at that moment. Now you started looking at that, and I would give the older guy the job before because I knew he had to feed his family. I would do things like that. But I really had an incredible crew of an array of different people. I had just 2 Italians, but the rest was all black or Spanish guys that worked with me.
You were saying you got like 40.
Yeah, and our height, we was over 42 employees we had.
So how do you scale? Like, because I mean, I guess that's a lot of money to start a construction company. Like, how do you scale to that point?
So we was blessed, right? And we was smart enough to get that deal done, which was the 50-50 deal where they put up the bond for the job. We have to bid the job, and we won the first job. It was a Queens Colden Park in Queens. It was a job for about $1 million. It was about $900,000 and some change, and we bid the job, won it. So now we're funded because now we went to our partner, who's 50-50 partners on all the profit, Ken Frolic, and we said we need this to start, and we got funded. And that's how we started. And then after that, we just started rolling it over.
Domino effect.
Yeah, it just started rolling over. But you had to watch your money. Again, your typical profit margins in the construction world is anywhere between 20 to 30%. So, you're talking about making $180,000 on that $900,000. That's money that we never seen at that, like in one lump.
Yeah.
But the problem was we had to partner up with Kenny, so he's getting 90 of it. We're getting 90 of it, and then we had to keep going. So it got really hairy. But again, Jay-Z said it, but we all say it, we never stop. That was the genius part, right? We didn't quit. We just kept going. Yeah. And we kind of got to a point where now, we had a lot of money that was owed, but we're making a lot of money also, and it kind of started going and going.
So how long did it take to go from you and your sister to 40 employees?
That was 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that time, at the height of this, right? How much are we bringing in?
In the height, our biggest job was almost $40 million, and again, we was making a little bit more than 25% on the money.
So you're millionaires.
Yeah.
And this is
in construction.
And this is you 30.
Tina, my sister, was the first. She was money bags. Tina was the money bags.
And you were 31. You told me.
Yeah, I had just got into my 30s and then Irv
was
again.
That, right? Is this so?
That transition was right there in that time frame.
This is after Mike Geronimo.
This is during Mike Geronimo, and we're still going.
So mid-90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mid-90s.
So people might not know who Mike Geronimo.
Mike Geronimo.
Blunt Records, TVT, Blunt Records, another label that we started before Murder Inc.
Go YouTube that.
Independent. Mike Geronimo. We started that and put him out. We had Cash Money Click over there. You got Pitbull. We had Little John. So you have Royal Flush. These were all the artists that was on this little independent label that we started moving with.
So, all right. So, okay. So now we're going to go into the music side because your life story is pretty interesting where You become a millionaire at 31.
Yeah.
Construction got a nice thing going. 40 employees, and you give it up.
I didn't give it right up. Okay, again, this goes back to education too, right? So I didn't give it right up. We did. I did both because music was at night. Irv was like, "Yo, he's growing. He needs help. Come back." Because I started the music with Irv. I was managing him, and he had a group he was in, and we was doing a bunch of, but we wasn't making money. So now he's making money after the Mike G, and then he gets into Def Jam, and he's like, "Yo, come run this production company, Top Dog Productions." Mm-hmm. Not Top Dog with what's his name?
Not Kendrick.
Not TD, not Kendrick.
Yeah.
We was first. You know what I'm saying? Top Dog Productions, and Irv just wanted to be the biggest and best producer in the game. And basically, he's like, "Come run that and sell beats." He had one producer, Little Rob, and I took Little Rob and sold every beat he would have. But Little Rob wasn't a volume beat producer. Like, he would make just a few. So, but everything he made was fire. I get it off. So I said, Irv, we got a problem. We have an inventory problem.
Yeah, I need more.
I need more. So he's like, "What are we going to do?" I said, "I'm going to go hire producers." Okay. And that's what I did.
All right. So that leads us into, we did the backstory, but now we're going to go into the music side, which you're probably most famous for, what people know you for the most, right? All right. So you start off selling, okay, so your brother Irv becomes a producer, right?
Yes.
And he's selling beats.
Yes.
And he recruits you to help sell the beats for him, right?
Yeah. He told me come run Top Dog Productions for him, manage it and run it, you know, and that's what I did. And I believe I did an incredible job for him.
When you start at that time, how much are beats going for?
He was making $5,000 a track when I first started at Top Dog. So, you know, we were selling to like the lower tier artists, $5,000 a song.
And you scaled that pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, I scaled. I ramped that up. Here's why: I'm making money from construction, and I'm burning it at both ends. So I'm going to the studio at nights, construction in the daytime.
So you still doing the construction?
Still doing it when I first go over. I couldn't just stop because it's a business. It's financial. Yeah. And I did it for about a year and a half, 2 ends, burning at both ends before I said I can't do it no more. But I took them from 5,000 to 50,000 in 6 months. And then Little Rob, who's the producer, he was our main producer at the time. Again, he would make just enough beats, not a lot. I didn't have extra inventory. I always like to talk to you people in the music industry just like it's business, because it is. Yeah. I don't want to treat it like it's just beats. No, this is our inventory. The beats is our inventory, and we didn't have any more. I sell it out. How can I make money? So then I went and started assembling that production team, and I found some incredible producers. Chink Santana, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Monster from DC. I bought his first beat I asked him, it was a great story because I asked him, I said, he's in my office, and I brought him because Pop, this other artist from DC, came in, and I was like, whose beats are those? And he was like, oh, it's Chink. So I said, next time you come back, bring him. So he brings him, and we're going through music, and I said, you ever sold a beat? He said, no, Joe. You know, all that Joe, all that DC, no, Joe. I said, okay, so how much would you want for a beat? He's looking, he's like, I don't even know, Joe. I was like, what do you think? He's like, $500. I said, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy that first beat from you for $7,500. And I cut a check for the first half. I said, when I sell it, because I don't have a home for it, I'll give you the other half. I said, $37.50. We gave him a check that day, $37.50. He looked at me. He going crazy. Hey, Joe, I never sold the beat before. You know, he was going crazy.
That's honorable, because you could have been like, yo, hey, 500 sold.
Right, I wouldn't do that.
Right there,
like, because I know what our value is. So
right.
I wanted to keep them in the same neighborhood. Yeah. But again, I'm like, here you go. And then I said, but I want to sign you to Top Dog. He said, he looked at the check. He was basically like, whatever you want to do. So he said, you could do this for me? I said, yeah, I could do this for you. And sure enough, when he came in, it really changed everything, because he was a volume. He made a lot of inventory. Yeah.
So were y'all at Def Jam when y'all got him? Or were y'all still searching for the deal?
No, Irv was an A&R at Def Jam.
Okay.
Irv was an A&R at Def Jam. So basically, think about it from that standpoint. I'm making music. Irv is a producer, and I have all this music, and we're inside of a system. Mm-hmm. which is Def Jam.
So you like that
to
in-house
service, yeah. So we just started serving beats, and then once you do one, the industry is a following industry, just like everything else. If we make a hot hat, everyone makes that hat with their logo on it. Yeah. So music's no different. You make a hot beat, and everyone wants a beat just like that record you just did. So we started getting calls from not just Def Jam, but every record label. Yeah. But I got to service them. I need inventory, so I started hiring more beats like Reb, DL, you know what I'm saying, Fingers, Styles, and we went on a run, and we went from 5,000. I just started pushing the tracks, the money up. I remember the day. I'll give you a good story. We Electra Records, ODB. They want beats for ODB. Sylvia Rome was running Electra Records. She calls me to come in and talk to her. I said, I want to sell some beats to ODB. She said, all right, I'll do 4. How much? At the time, we was only getting 20,000 a track. And I said 40,000 a track. And she said, no problem. I'll cut the check and get it to you. So that's first half is 80,000. So I'm happy. I just doubled our value. I'm like, great. I sold 4 beats to ODB. Irv's like, how much? Irv is always about the bottom line. How much? And I was like, I show him the check, and he goes crazy. That's our new our price. We ain't going no low. I said, I know, I got you, 40,000 a track, but we went from 40 to 50 to 75 to 100 in less than a year.
What's the highest you got up to?
250,000 a song, and we was taking 6 points on each song.
Can you explain the point breakdown?
Okay, so a single, if you make one single, there's 10 points on that single. 5 points goes to the producer, 5 points goes to the writer. We was taking 6, which means the writer of the record had to give us an extra point from their side, from their share.
It's 100 points for a total
for an album.
For an album, right?
Yeah. And that's just because of the track work that y'all have.
Yeah, because you want this work.
We know what y'all. We know what y'all bringing.
So I was just being aggressive.
Yeah.
That's the key. When you're hot in music, you could get very aggressive. I was very aggressive, and Irv is super aggressive. So when I say that, it's because he's pushing me like go more, and that's what we just kept pushing it up.
This is interesting because even outside of music, people struggle with this all the time. How much do you charge for your services, right? This is something, especially entrepreneurs, they struggle with this all the time.
Know your value.
Know your worth.
And I heard Gary Vee say something before where he was like, if people aren't telling you no, you're too cheap. Like you gotta. So how do you? It's a thin line, right? Just general advice, business advice. How do you know what to charge? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you say, okay, I'm gonna go from 20
it's
to 50?
It's not hard. Okay, if it's all based on success. You can't charge $250,000 and you're giving trash away, and the records don't do anything for the label or the artist. Yeah. But when you see the result, right? Okay, we could talk now because I know how much you generated.
You put out I'm Real.
I know what my record generated for your artist and what that means to your label. And that's how we equate value, right? And again, don't get it confused. The money we was talking, the $250,000, is in advance. We didn't make an extra dollar. If we took 0, we still make that $250 gets paid faster. That's all. It's the same exact amount of money we generated for every record. Do you understand? But it's like,
can you break that down?
Okay, so if a record generates $1 million.
Right.
Okay, and we was advanced $250,000. We only getting $750,000 off of the $1 million. That's all. It's in advance. It's simple as that. You do not make an extra dollar because you was advanced. But
what if the record flops?
Okay, whatever the record makes, that's where the risk, and that's why we took, and that's why you took in advance as a producer up front.
Okay.
Right. So as a producer, you understood the value of that music if it's successful in your track record, potentially being why that record's going to be successful for an artist you have no equity interest in, but you say, hey, advance me this type of advance on that money, $250,000, because you're going to make millions of dollars, and you're good. Again, they don't lose any extra money is all I'm saying. It's just an advance is all it is. It's an advance on the future earnings of that record.
On the record.
That's all it is. So, again, Dr. Dre was getting $250,000.
Wasn't Timberlake getting $1 million? Somebody, who was the highest paid? I heard crazy.
It depends on the year.
Pharrell.
Listen, I know for a fact Rodney Jerkins Okay,
wow.
when he was producing for Michael Jackson, was getting paid he's getting paid millions of dollars, but there's no return. Michael basically was owning the record, right? So he was paying him in advance on all his publishing and everything because it's Michael Jackson. He's gonna sell 50 million records, and that record is going to be worth well more than what he paid you. But Rodney was really getting paid at that time, man. He was out in Jersey killing it. Shout out to Rodney Jerkins, man.
Yeah,
Legend.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So all right. So you guys have a team of producers,
Yes.
and y'all tearing the game up, right?
Yes.
But then you transition into a label, right?
Yes.
Was that?
By design?
Yeah, like 'cause I remember you telling me when we was in the studio that even DMX, right? Like
Yeah.
you originally your brother brought DMX
Yeah.
To Def Jam.
to Def Jam.
He brought him to Def Jam, but just think when
Right.
you mentioned Blunt Records earlier, he
Right.
brought him to Blunt Records. DMX could easily have been signed to Blunt Records, but we didn't do the deal because we didn't think Blunt had enough power as an independent to move the product the way it needed to be moved.
Right, because I remember the original Murder Inc. being not a label, but being a group with Jay-Z, DMX, and Ja Rule. Right?
That's
And that-
Irv's original concept, what he wanted to do. He thought they was absolutely the best. People don't realize that Jay-Z, DMX, but the one they don't realize is Ja Rule was a battle rapper.
Yeah.
We used to battle Rule against everybody. So Irv just felt he had the most talented artists at that time and wanted to create this super group called Murder Inc.
I had that double XL cover was on my wall for at least 5 years.
You know, we was this close.
to
Oh
making
my
it out.
God!
So
They had the hand, they had the bats
And the
behind
bats
it.
behind it.
my-
That was
I had
crazy,
that
right?
cover like, oh
So
please.
That
do
was
this.
a great cover
Please
because the
do
front
this.
you see their face, but in the back of the cover
They got the
of the,
bats.
you see the bats, the chain,
but how
the
did, so how,
pipe.
did, how did y'all build these relationships? Because I know you didn't go to college, right?
No.
You had a background in business because you had a construction company, so you understood business.
Yeah.
On that.
Irv didn't go to school either.
Yeah. So, but how do you? All right. How do you start? You started a record label, but you don't know anything about how to run a business. You do, but
A music business.
No. I have no clue.
how do you figure that out?
How to run a-
How do you
Just like I did in construction.
as you go? Just
I
figure it out?
sit with lawyers. I ask a ton of questions. Don't be afraid to ask or think you're something stupid. You're gonna learn, but you learn the hard way too, right? Your best education is because you lose, right? We lost a ton of money because of lawyers that took advantage. That you're thinking they're doing the right deal for you and they're not.
You got some shady lawyers.
I fired all of the best lawyers you could think of. They all work for me. I fired them all. They're all in bed with the labels. You got to see. We didn't know that. These are all the things you learn in hindsight. But they're all in bed with the label. So how can I get what I want from the label? And they're busy giving up all the information to the label and blocking me every chance I get. And that's what happened. My best deals happened because I took the Suge Knight route. Irv and myself, we discussed and decided the Suge Knight route is one lawyer. Only works for you, nobody else.
You were his only client.
Ron Sweeney. We took him from Sony. Ron Sweeney and Brian Robinson.
Paid him a salary.
A salary and points or profit. Okay? Which was way more than what he was getting at Sony.
Yeah. That's kind of what Derek Ferguson.
But it's way cheaper for us. How about that?
Yeah, no, it's
Because we get better deals now.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
It's
You got to give up something to get something.
It's exclusive in-house. You got to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
People, I'm glad you brought that up because people do it all the time in business where they skim on important things, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that's important, right? So you want to spend money on something that's important because,
Yeah.
like you said, you spent more money on an in-house lawyer, but it saved you a lot of money.
So I just had this conversation last night in the studio with someone that wants me to be their consultant. And the first question I asked him was, why would you pay me to be a consultant? What's your reason? I want to hear your reason. He didn't have an answer. He didn't even know. He just know. He's like, I know you know the business, but I said, what's the reasons? Yeah, there's a lot of people that know the business. Why do you want me? Why do you want someone to consult you? What's the reason? Why? And I said, if you're not understanding that, you're not thinking properly. Like the reason you pay a consultant is to save money because you won't make a mistake that you might cost you a lot of money. And that's basically what the reason we went with Ron Swinney. He was the head of business affairs for Sony Music, which means he was the head attorney for every business deal at Sony. Which means he knows where all the bones is buried. Mm-hmm. You understand? He knows how all the contracts, where they jerk you, where the money's at. When he came in, and same with Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson was over at Universal, and we took him. So we had those two as our only attorneys. They couldn't work for no one else. They only could work for us, and they got points on the profits.
So
all right, so we realized that a lot of people might not know what you went through, right? So it's actually it's a business.
Paraphrase.
Also, the good thing about the story too for the podcast is that we like to paint the real picture of business, right? It's never all good in business. So you guys experienced
and the decisions you have to make in business.
Exactly. You guys experienced the top of the top where you was on top of the world, selling beats for $250. You was on a number one for 48 weeks. You was just unstoppable.
Yeah, love is love.
What's you calling yourself? The Unstoppable Murder Inc. or something like that? Something like so. Murder Inc. was
untouchable.
The Untouchable Murder Inc. Right. So all right, we gotta talk about Jay Prince. He put this in his book, so this is public knowledge. He put this in his book. So shout out to Houston, my man Don Key. If you listening, that's my guy. We connected on Instagram. Dripped up and draped out. We gotta go to Houston. I'm
gonna get Jay Prince on this there.
That's a fact. We gotta
go to
Houston. Prince, we need you, man.
You heard it here.
That's a fact. Shout out to H-Town, man. So Jay Prince told the story about how he met you in his book, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell that story?
He loved me to tell that story too. He always, whenever we around new people, Chris, come on, tell them how we met. But it wasn't on good terms. And, his legend and his name and reputation precedes him. So when I had found out, Irv calls me and says 7 was signed to Jay Prince.
That's one of your producers at the time.
He was one of our main producers. Yeah. And made a lot of hit records, made a lot of money. And Jay Prince was basically claiming all the money he made and generated. Because 7 said that's his money. Mm-hmm. So if he signed to Jay Prince, he's like, collect that money, and then we'll do whatever my deal says I'll take from there. So Jay reaches out, and Irv tells me, you got to go to Houston to deal with Jay Prince. I'm like, great, great. Thanks, brother. Thanks, Irv. Good looking. But I'm a Doja, so at the end of the day, no problem. At the time, Preem was home.
Supreme.
Shout out to Supreme. Hold your head, brother. At the end of the day, Supreme is home, and he was at Beaumont, Texas, going to see his nephew, Prince. And he was coming from there.
That's the federal penitentiary, right?
Federal penitentiary out there. And he calls me and I call him and tell him I'm going to Houston. Meet me in Houston. He says, no problem. Then I call one of my other brothers out there in Houston, Black. We call him B1. So I called B1. B1's about that life. So I was like, I'm coming to Houston. I got a problem out there. He said, whatever you need, I got you. So I get out there. He's like, what's happening? He comes, picks me and Preem up. And he's like, what's happening? I say, man, who's this Jay Prince guy? I got a problem. He said, oh, man, I can't do nothing. He's like, that's the big homie.
So I can't help you.
So, keep it moving. Everyone told me don't go to his ranch. Jay says, he calls me up while I'm in Houston and says, hey, come meet me at my ranch. And I'm like,
so he has a ranch.
He has a ranch. He's a real cowboy. Like he's a country boy, man. He's the biggest provider of hay.
Yeah, he said that.
Black Angus beef.
In his book.
Nah, people don't know. He's a mogul. He's a real mogul, but he's the biggest real estate owner in Houston. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's someone you should talk to. He bought his whole hood. Fifth Ward is his. Jay Prince, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they tell me I got to go to this ranch to meet him. I said, all right. So he sends 2 cars, 2 SUVs. For Jay, it was all presentation. See, I know this in hindsight now that I'm with, that's my brother. But in the beginning, I'm thinking this is some bullshit. Like, he sends 2 cars, 2 people in one, 4 in another, and me and Preem and Black. Black's like, I'm going to come with you in case something goes. I'll try and defuse it and stop it. So I was like, all right, bet. So we drive. again, I just want to give the listeners, the viewers, the vision. When you get to this part, we drove for about an hour from where we was at. Then we get to this one part, and it says James Prince Estates. And we see it's like a billboard. And we say, okay, make the right turn. And we drove another 20 minutes.
From the gate.
From that corner to get to the middle of the gate. That's how much land he has. Like, yeah. And then 2 more SUVs come down like this path, like dirt path. You see the cloud of smoke. Me and Preem is looking at each other like, yo, it was nice knowing you. Shit, yeah. No, we was like, yo, it's nice knowing you, yo. But we gonna take some dudes with us. We ain't going out alone, man. So they come 4 more in each of those SUVs. We go up to the ranch. And when we walk in the ranch, it was like the yard. It was like you in Rikers Island in the yard or somewhere. I mean, it was about 60, 70 dudes all over the house. And I'm like, what the fuck? Me and Preem is looking at each other like, yo, they gonna kill us. So I'm getting frustrated because he didn't come right out. Like, we're here. Where you at? And again, we're only 15 minutes in, maybe 20 minutes the most. So I'm getting frustrated. And I'm like, yo, where's Jay? Who's Jay Prince? I don't even know what he looks like. Like, at that time, I didn't even know what the man looks like. You hear his name and the legend of him. I'm thinking it's going to be this 6'4", like, dude come out. And then this little dude comes out from the back. It says, hey, which one of y'all Chris? And I said, that's me. He said, yeah, come on, let's go talk. I'm Jay. In my head, I'm like, this is what this is all about. This nigga right here. Yo, Jay love it when I tell it, but it's real. I promise you, it's real. Now, I just kept my composure, but I'm feeling the pressure of the room and all the dudes and just the environment. Then when I'm walking to the back with him, you see all the stuffed animals. not like the ones you won from the fucking carnival. No, real fucking animals that's stuffed and everything. And it's like, so he's a hunter. He's
been hunting.
Yeah, he's a hunter. And then all the heads is on the wall. And then you go to his desk, and right behind his desk is all the assault rifles. And I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then he wants to talk about $28 million that's owed to Seven, and he wants all of that because Seven told him that's all his money. To which I said, not a chance. And, the more I know Jay, the more I understand the move, because the move was really he's going by what Seven told him, but he's a man of his word. Mm-hmm. So if you say something to him, he's going to make you honor your word. So when I told him that's not it, I'm like, nah, he can't get all of that. We gave him half. Irv has the other half as the producer, and that's it. I said, he doesn't know Jay-Z. He doesn't know J-Lo, Mariah Carey, Mary J. Blige. We do. And I said, that's my money. That's basically what I told you. I said, I don't care what the fuck Sev told you. That's our money. He said, okay. And that was really the end of the meeting. Again, and then we went on after that, became really good friends, and things happened that made us get really close. You know what I'm saying? But it was a great way to, and I told him his image precedes him. So I told him the more he talks or the less he talks, the bigger, that legend grows. Yeah. So I always tell him, don't get in too much limelight. He put the book out, you know what I'm saying? And the book did great, and it looked like he was the president if you followed him on the gram, because he was in so many places. The campaign he went on was legendary. Like, I was like, "Who's your PR guy?"
And in the middle of it, he got involved with the Drake and Pusha T thing. It was like, this is all happening.
Oh, he said he squashed that.
Squashed it. Like, no, Drake's not gonna respond. He gave me his word. He's not responding.
Yeah,
and we were like, for real?
They said Drake had to track.
He said if he would have let him release it.
He said you can't do that.
We can't cross. He crossed too many lines.
There's only a few people. He's one of the biggest people I ever met.
You say like strongest.
Honestly, strongest dude I ever met. I give it to Jay Prince. And Preem is a monster, but he's not as strong as Jay in that sense. He wasn't as strong. BMF, like I know T, I know Meech, they wasn't as strong as Jay Prince, in my opinion. And it's crazy. Like when I seen how he has his not city, that whole state of he has
the Kid Takashi when he was in
he had a problem with his son.
Yeah, he was like, they
Yeah, I tried to fix that with Shotty. Hold your head, Shotty. You know what I'm saying? I tried to fix that with Shotty, man.
You said you keep campaigning, eventually you're going to get elected.
That was a hard
I use that all the time. But that's real. You keep campaigning, you bound to get elected. That's a statement. I use that line now. I told him I'm taking it, so he can't get pub on it.
All right, so but he said in the book, all right, so you meet him and then y'all become good.
Yes.
And then so y'all have an idea to have a black owned distribution company for records with you guys, Jay Prince, Rap A Lot, and Suge Knight.
Yes.
Y'all was gonna come together, East Coast, down south, and that's a crazy trio. But and he said in the book, he was like, right when y'all was about to get this off the ground and running, everybody just started catching fake cases and all that. And so then that leads to your
coincidence. I don't think so.
Can you talk about that distribution channel that you guys was going to start?
Yeah, we wanted to be a major distribution company, just like a Universal, and we was going to cut deals with all of the outlets. You know, I give Suge a lot of the credit. Suge was a super smart man. And people don't understand him from his business acumen.
Is he a good dude?
Suge is a predator. Good dude for me, yes. Suge, hold your head. Good dude for me, yes. But we had our ups and downs too. But predators, one thing they respect is that, you know, if you stand your ground, they respect that. If you don't, if you show the weakness, they're gonna take what you got. They're gonna eat your food. And I learned that early from my days. So when I had to deal with Jay, I understood I couldn't show that. And then just like with Suge, I couldn't show it. So, but it all turned, you know, for us, those are all great relationships.
Probably the reason why they said, all right, we could work with them.
So it was Suge's idea?
Absolutely.
It was Suge's idea for the...
Suge was putting it together. And Jay, again, is a super brilliant man. I'm not shading him at all because he is a genius in his own right from a business acumen also. He's very methodical. He's a chess. Like, everyone moves differently. You see how they move. He's a chess player. He doesn't speak much, you know. And Irv is vision, creative. You know, I'm business, and that's where we was coming together. And when Suge was saying the plays, we envisioned it and seen that it could really work. And we was like, wow, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, this indictment, that indictment, you know, and like I said, I don't think that was coincidental. I thought the feds really wanted to learn about the hip-hop culture and what better way to go at it than go, these three are getting together, let's try and chase someone down and shake this tree and see what comes out.
Sam Cooke actually was trying to do something like that.
Sam Cooke, that's right. And then they think he's the reason he got killed.
Right, like he was seriously gets killed by some random woman.
You know, I hate conspiracy theories, but
it's hard to
it's hard to deny certain things is what I'm saying. I hate it because I like proof. Right, I like to know facts. I don't like to talk on speculation. I like to know what's really real, and that's what I mean. But there's so many factors. Even when you talk about, let's say, like holistic doctors, and then all of a sudden, all these random doctors that got killed, it's like or disappeared. Dr. Sebi, there has to be some type of connection that correlates to these deaths. So it's like, there's a conspiracy theory, but there's a lot of facts too.
And you lived it.
So, all right. So you guys caught the Fed case. So the Feds, if anybody's not familiar.
I don't know how we caught a Fed case, but you know, that's another story.
Yeah, the Feds, the conviction rate is 97%. You don't beat the Feds. It's almost impossible to beat the Feds because they put so much pressure on you. They stretch the cases out for so long where you almost got to cop out. That's why the conviction rate is so high because most people just cop out.
And usually your money runs dry.
So you guys at the peak of your dominance, you caught a federal indictment. What was that? What was
I'm
it?
I'm hit you with the Rick Ross.
Well, they tied it in with money laundering, Supreme. That's what they did.
Well, you know, it was a lot more charges.
Okay.
It got dwindled down due to great attorneys and the right thing. Even the money laundering case was stupid. We was paying. We was charged with $1 million in money laundering, right? Just use your own common sense from there. $1 million in money laundering sounds like a lot, but at that moment we're paying tens of millions of dollars in taxes. We're paying 8 figures in taxes. I was gambling over $1 million a week, but I'm laundering $1 million. It doesn't make any sense, right? Just common sense. If I'm laundering the money, I'm trying to turn it clean, right? Why would I be gambling $1 million plus?
You gambling $1 million a week?
Oh yeah, they got it. It's all documented.
So So they froze the assets, right? They froze your music assets, but that's why you still have some things to fall back on. And you said the gambling thing. Yeah, you were managing somebody.
I was managing Phil Ivey. I'm gonna tell you to keep complete transparency. Irv made a lot more money than me in music. I was running out of money in music because they stopped paying us. So when that money went dry, I had to find other ways. But gambling, I'm pretty good at gambling. I'm gonna knock on wood. I'm pretty good at gambling, and then I've been gambling since probably 5 years old, honestly. And then to manage Phil Ivey, just made probably the best gambler in the world give you more insight and information, which is invaluable. It's
for the listeners who don't know who Phil Ivey is,
Google him.
Just a superstar poker player, amongst other things.
He's the Michael Jordan
of poker.
Yeah, they call him the Tiger Woods of poker, Michael Jordan of poker. He's just the best. That's all.
He's black.
Yeah, black man.
He's ill.
From New Jersey.
He's ill.
From New Jersey.
He's the reason why you have the World Series of Poker on ESPN.
Yes.
The reason why the pot has grown. What is it, 20 million now?
Yeah, he's the reason it grew so big because of his success, and then people took an interest in him. He was a personality. When you looked at all the other poker players that had success, they wasn't interesting.
Right.
They wasn't black, that's for damn sure. But they wasn't interesting as a person. They was very, I don't know how to introvert.
He's boring.
Right? They was boring. Yeah. So at the end of the day, he was the first one to come and put
the swag juice on it. Yeah. Just swag it out.
Leave it to us, man, to put some swag on it. We going anywhere, we putting the swag
I take a lot of credit for Phil.
So, all right. So French Montana has a line where you say, people lost millions trying to beat the feds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you was saying you guys spent 8 figures.
Oh, yeah.
8 figures of your money.
So it wasn't just what you had to spend money on was attorneys. And the attorneys we had to represent us in the case for the trial wasn't the attorneys I'm talking about. I'm talking about I had the biggest law firms. Again, ignorance is crazy. We didn't know I didn't know I had to fight the government, and I wasn't charged with a crime in the beginning, right? So we're under investigation. They raided our office. We wasn't charged with any crime. They're just saying we're under investigation. What does that mean? They're looking at you. Great, look, we're making hit records. That's what we was telling everybody. Like, come and look. There's nothing to see. But we're making all these records, and then all of a sudden Universal stopped paying us. And we're like, wait a minute. And
why did they stop paying?
They stopped paying us because
their cooperation?
They cooperated with the government against us. The United States of America said, if you help these boys, we're coming after you. So I don't think anyone would have cooperated, right? And tried to help us. Any company, they would have been like, they would have distanced themselves from us, no matter how many billions of dollars we've generated for them. And that's the facts. And then at the end of the day, when you look at Irv's career, I use Irv because I'm a part of Irv. So I'm going to leave it at Irv's career. He brought in just Jay-Z, Rockefeller, right? DMX, Rough Riders, Ja Rule, Murder Ring. When you count up just that alone, not counting anything else we did for Redman, Method Man, Foxy Brown, Ludacris, Nelly, not counting any of that, just those there, we're in the billions of dollars of generated revenue. And that's how executives in the music industry look at those executives. When you talk about a Jimmy, he's going to tell you all the artists he had. Mm-hmm. So don't discount what Irv did. It's the exact same thing.
No, you can't.
When you look at some of these executives, again, like Jimmy's an incredible executive, probably the best music exec ever.
Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah. Jimmy Iovine, hands down. But when you look at some of these other guys, they did very little and made hundreds of millions of dollars. But maybe they was the right side of the fence. They wasn't on the other side of the tracks, if you understand what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, with very limited amount of success, hundreds of millions of dollars was given to them for those assets that they created. And that's the difference in hip-hop versus pop versus country, because they didn't do it with R&B either. Anything of color, they didn't give it up like that.
So the feds came, they put pressure on Universal. Universal flipped, said whatever you need to know, we'll tell you.
Basically.
Pretty much, right?
And then, of course, they just didn't cooperate. They cooperated with the government. Now, we can't fight everybody at the same time. We're in the middle of this storm. You don't even know where all of these things are coming from. Not to mention 50 Cent, right? Think about all of the things he's doing in the interim of all of this while we're going and dealing with this 1,000-pound gorilla.
Do you feel that 50 So a lot of people say that he kind of dry snitched without really snitching.
No, he snitched, but it's all good. It's what it is. I got statements of Curtis Jackson.
Well, I mean, like on the Fed, like because it was like around the same.
He was
time.
all in my paperwork.
His name.
Yes. So I don't need to, like, means he made statements. What do you call that? I don't know. It's just, again, when we went out and if we said that, no one would believe it.
Yeah.
Or no one, success has a way of blurring your vision, right? He was super successful.
So
he's the number one artist. He was killing it. People want to believe that story. It's all good. It is what it is. It's no crying over spilled milk. It is what it is. But the facts are the facts. You're not going to get me to lie and tell you something different. Did he tell? Yeah, he told stories. He told him that we trying to kill him. He told him that. Lies. Like, but come on. You're trying to get us deterred, and then these are things that happen. That happened with him. This is a financial discussion, but this all affected business. Right? This all affected business. So I don't want to deter off it, but they only protect their own. They wasn't coming to protect nobody else. They protected him. They made sure he was safe. There's a lot.
When you say they,
the United States of America or the federal system, the federal government.
Be careful of that.
The police department, they all took care of this man. So, why is that? I don't get it, but I'll let him tell the story. It doesn't matter to me. We're here. It's a different day. That's a long time ago. I know who you are. You know who I am, and it's all good. You know what I'm saying? People ask me if I got beef. I got no beef. I don't even know the man.
Yeah, so you don't know him.
I don't know him. I can't have a beef with someone I don't know. And yeah, you could sit and talk and all that. I don't know I don't know you. We never did business. Well, we did do business. This is how crazy it is. We did do business. He was on Columbia Records. Tina Davis was his A&R over there, an executive over there. Shout out Tina. 50 wanted music. He paid a first half of $100,000. We was making $50,000 a song at the time, and he paid for 4 songs. So we got $100,000 for the first half.
For Irv Gotti.
Absolutely.
So Irv Gotti produced.
No, we never got to produce.
Oh, okay.
But why would you pay it if you didn't want to do business with us?
He paid to what?
Why would you allow your record label to put up $100,000 of your budget to Irv Gotti or Top Dog Productions to make 4 songs for you if you didn't want to work with us?
What happened? Why didn't the songs?
I don't understand. I really don't know. I know we tried to have multiple meetings. It never happened, but he would never show up. But at the end, to just squash things, what's the problem? We don't know you. Ja didn't know him. He knew Black Child, he knew Caddy, but we didn't know him. Irv didn't know him. Irv definitely didn't know him, and I don't know him. And Ja Rule didn't know him, but he knew Black Child, knew Caddy. So why can't this work out? He was being managed by Supreme. He was being managed by Chaz.
You're saying, Supreme used to be his manager.
And so was Chaz. Chaz, Black Hand was managing him so in the beginning days. So how do you not try and resolve whatever? Where's the real problem? It isn't one. It's like, but smoke and mirrors, man. This is not a real industry we're in.
There's no
we're not in a real industry. Where this is the problem with fans. This is not a real industry. This is about entertainment. This is about, again, money and entertainment. Again, 6ix9ine, perfect example. Told on everyone. He's so tough guy. Yeah, real tough. Forget about it. It's not real. It's fake. It's entertainment. 50 is no different. He was entertaining. He made great records. Then think what happened. He gets Jimmy Iovine with him, the best executive ever. Dr. Dre, the best producer ever in hip-hop. And then Eminem, the biggest artist in hip-hop at that time. Are you kidding me? How can you lose? No. People don't understand. He gets Game. I had Game first. It's so much stuff that's not told that people just don't know.
Game was signed to y'all?
No, I was in the process. I was working with Game. I would make mad records with Game. Shout out Game. You know what I'm saying? I was going to Compton, picking him up, bringing him to the studio, making records. He was constantly talking. Baron Davis brought me Game.
BD.
Yeah, BD.
B
Diddy.
And I'm trying to get Irv to sign Game and work it and make music. And then all of a sudden he calls me and says, I got Dr. Dre. So he wasn't signed to 50 in G Unit. Perception thinks he's G Unit. Yeah. This is what people don't get. He was signed to Dr. Dre and Aftermath. But doesn't it make better sense to be G Unit? It's business. Yeah. So when you think Murder Inc., okay, we're generating 9 figures in revenue. Here comes G Unit. Really, not G Unit. Aftermath.
Shady.
It's only a lateral move. Take my money, put it over there. That's all it was. For Universal, they don't care. It's business.
So y'all was all under Universal.
We're all under Universal. They're on Interscope Universal. We're on Def Jam Universal. So it didn't matter. It's just it's a slide. Yeah, push that money there. You think they care? If that slide didn't happen, they would care. But because it happened, they don't care. You know, Vivendi, who owned Universal at the time, was trying to get in touch with us because they wanted to know what's going on with the case. We're like, what? Get out of here. There's nothing going on with the case. We're making hit records. But that lets you know how high up in the system, the Universal system, we was being talked about and dealt with. Right? You think Vivendi was talking about G-Unit or any other label? They only cared because we was losing the money. Once G-Unit got popping, they're going to talk about G-Unit at that moment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. At that moment, they're not thinking G-Unit. They're thinking Murder Ring. All this money is about to go down the drain. What's going on with you guys? Is everything okay? You understand? And that's what happened. And then it gets shifted over there from a corporate standpoint. It's no loss. It's probably a win. They went up.
And you said something like when they had you guys sign something like if y'all lost the case.
Yeah. So during our trial, we had to sign over to so we could get money. Right. Usually we was talking about how the government does, they stop all your revenue from coming. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why they win. You cannot fight them because you run out of resources. You know, someone told me ink, not murdering, just ink is unlimited resources because I got unlimited ink, so they could write things about you, which they did. They're very strategic in their approach, and it's like in hindsight you learn it. You don't know why you're in the storm. So just imagine all these things going on, and the government is sitting there stopping everything financially for us. What are we going to do? We're going to run out of money at some point, and then now here's this offer so we could get. If we go to jail, Universal would have owned everything. You want to talk about some scumbag business? Okay, think about what I'm telling you. I'm fighting for my life in court. We signed that in courtroom while we're in the middle of our trial. This is what Universal did to us.
So Universal comes in the middle of your trial with paperwork that says if you lose your case,
we own everything.
All the rights to your masters
everything.
And in return for doing that, they gave you money?
They cut a check that they owed us so we could continue to pay. But that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? So we could continue to pay legal. Right. We was paying private investigators. I investigated everyone next to me because I wanted to know who am I dealing with. And I let everyone know.
I want people to really understand and seek that in. So in the middle of a federal trial where you could have went to jail for 20 years,
yes,
somebody from Universal comes and says, look, we have X amount of dollars
in
for
the courtroom.
But in order to get this money, sign this paper. And if you lose, we're going to take everything that you built.
Everything.
It's ours.
Ours, 100%.
You have no real choice but to sign it because you need money.
Right. They found you at your most vulnerable
moment.
So
now we really...
roll the dice.
Y'all said...
You're a gambler.
but this gamble this was crazy. Again, it was a crazy risk, but we was running out of options. So we do the deal. We win the case. We own everything. And then they don't want to do a deal with us. Took us over 2 years to get that next deal back. So you're sitting there with no generated revenue. That's why I went into sports. You know what I'm saying? I went into insurance, hedge fund. This is all the time, the era when I started all of this. After those 2 years, we didn't get our deal back. We thought we was going to run right back into a deal. Nothing.
So, all right. So, okay. So now that leads into the conversation of what you're doing now, because the distribution thing started with that. And when we was in the studio, you was explaining how what you're doing now with Adventures, you're distributing independent music to platforms.
Yes.
Like a distribution channel.
I'm a distribution company with services and
Because I don't think a lot of well, for you, but can we just break down, because there's a lot of independent artists out there, and especially now, right?
Yes.
But they may not know. So as an independent artist, how do you get your music? Well, we know how to get the music now, but before, like, what was how does an independent artist get their music onto
before the internet
Apple
or after the internet? Like before the internet, you could still go directly to iTunes, but now they put a lot more criteria on it because they're trying to eliminate the volume. If you don't come through an aggregator like myself, a TuneCore, a CD Baby, they don't want that business. from just John Doe
Just
in
random.
Boise, Idaho,
Yeah.
putting their music up. They want you to go through an aggregator. So that's another way of them blocking things, right? They got to control. Everything is about control and blocking. So that's what they're doing. So I have a company, Adventure Music, and I do digital distribution for independent artists, and I get you on all of those outlets, all those DSPs that would allow your music to be either streamed or downloaded for money. And then, you know, we take a percentage, just like any distribution company,
Right.
you know, and you get the balance.
So it all has come through.
But I don't own your music.
They still own him.
The artist, whoever's that person is that's putting the music up, is the owner of the music.
So the benefit of it, right, as an independent artist, let's say I'm an independent artist, right? I can put the music up myself, right? I can put it on SoundCloud. Why don't we go to Adventures?
Because I have things that, when you say SoundCloud is not a real place to get monetized.
Yeah.
Okay, it's mostly free music, but it's one of the number one places for independent artists to get recognized.
Recognition.
So I encourage SoundCloud, and now they did start a monetization side of it, so you can do it, but you got to fit. Again, it's a criteria to fit into it. So, but let's say Apple Music or
Tidal. So.
you can't. I deliver to over 200 locations, which is typically more than 95% of all the other aggregators that does distribution. But then the real secret sauce is I'm part of education. I'm teaching you the reason you should do what you need to do from a business standpoint. Every independent artist is a miniature Universal. I use Universal all the time because they're the biggest record label. So whatever they're doing to monetize their business, you should be doing the same way. You're just small, right? But they know the game. They know how to monetize this music that you're doing. So you should follow suit. You should understand. Don't try and reinvent the wheel, because they know how to do it the best. Now, you could do other things added on that they may not do and try, because you might change the game. But follow the business acclimate of what they do, and you'll be in a great place. You know, the number one way music record labels make money is catalog. You know, that's the number one revenue stream. All the old music. So I'm trying to teach artists. They tell me they got 100 songs in their computer, and I'm like, that's money, but you don't get it because it's in your computer. And if you go to these other companies, they charge you every month to keep your music out, to distribute it, which is counterproductive, right? If I want to be able to put my music out and it sits there as long as that company's open. I don't want it to be returned to me or taken down. I want it to sit there, because if it could make $1, I want to make $1. If it could make $100, I want $100. And it could be in 10 years, 20 years. It doesn't matter. That's what music is. Right. You know, give me an album. DMX, we was just talking DMX. Def Jam is not making $1 of marketing cost into that album anymore. That is pure profit. 100%. Every dollar is on top of whatever they already generated. And that will sell forever, right? It's timeless. Forever. It's going to get played forever. It's going to generate revenue forever. That's the game you're in as an artist, and you need to know how to play it. And that's what we teach at Adventure Music.
Powerful.
No, that's powerful. That's powerful. We want to thank you for coming.
Oh, definitely.
No, it was a lot. It was a lot.
A lot of information.
A lot of information. That's a fact. That's a fact.
I appreciate you guys, though, man. This is a great platform for everybody to really learn business and what to do. You give incredible advice, both of you guys. Incredible advice, man.
Appreciate you.
Chris is also a two-time champion on Indictment. I'd be remiss if we didn't recognize that.
You got a team?
Not well. Again, Dominican Power. I'm with Mikey. I got my Dominican.
You got the hat on.
But Dominican Power, Mikey is Mikey the mayor. He's up there killing it right now. He got some incredible plays, and I think we're gonna get this year.
They showed us some love up there, so shout out to everybody from Indictment.
If you don't know Indictment, you need to be there. Best game in the city.
New York City, man. If you haven't been to New York City, you gotta come during the
go when
summertime.
Dominican Pie is playing. For
and
real.
You gotta go
Friday night.
That's a fact.
The lights is on.
They got prime time.
That's a fact. Shout out to Indictment.
Yeah.
Shout out to Indictment for sure. Shout out to New York City street ball.
Definitely,
it's a culture.
Oh man,
it's a culture within itself. But how can people contact you or get information on adventures, independent artists, if they want to get their music out there or different things?
Definitely. I'm Chris Gotti, 187 on all social media platforms. And adventuresmusic.com is the website. ADDVENTURES music, MUSIC.com. Add Ventures, because I'm adding ventures together for all these artists, these independent artists. That's where the name came from.
No, that's dope. That's dope. And you also said that you have like they can like get different services like a la carte.
Absolutely. Too, right? I have services, everything you could think of. I tried to make a menu list of all the services that, say, Universal would do for you, and create that list for an independent artist. The difference is price point, right? So I could roll you out. If you had the money, you want to roll out like your Rick Ross, I could do that. I have all the people in place. But if you only have a couple dollars, $100, $200, there's things you could do that would help get your record out there.
Yeah.
And that's what I do too. So it's a variety of different services. Right. If you need a video made, you need your record mixed and mastered. Like I tell everyone, the power of mixing and mastering is because you're competing against the best artists once you deliver it. So if your music doesn't sound right, you ever been in a club and they play a record from somebody and that record sounds like a little lower, and then you play the records that are out and it goes back up? That's the problem. That's why you need to mix and master your record. You're competing with Drake, even though you don't understand that. Mm-hmm. And one record could change everything. So you want to always have the best chances. It's just about being prepared, and it's at your resource level. But what Adventures will do, once I'm finished with the platform, because I'm still building the tech out, I will be one of the biggest marketing firms, and I will have money for every independent artist based on social media.
All genres.
Every artist.
Everywhere.
And that's going to be the game changer. That's when Universal's going to have to get out of here. That's when I close their doors. Yeah. I got a little beef.
Karma always comes
that would be fitting. That would be fitting.
Karma always comes around.
I got a little beef with a few guys, but it's all good.
And he knows them.
We want to thank you for coming, man, for sure. Some housekeeping items, Troy?
Yeah, man. Patreon is doing really well, man. Shout out to everybody that has been subscribing to our Patreon. That's Patreon at /Earn Your Leisure. It's just a way to support the podcast, like we say each episode. We've been getting some new members. Shout out to Shiana and Vicky and Tiana, and shout out to our guy Tony. We had a great conversation with him, and he was telling us how we've been inspiring him, and what we took away was like how much his conversation inspired us to keep going. Right, he's in North Carolina and telling us like he just wants to help. Whatever he can do to help us grow this thing, he's willing to do. And that was just from him hitting Patreon and getting a conversation with us. So shout out to him and everybody that's supporting the podcast, whether it's on getting the merch, the assets over liability shirt is doing well. The hustle for your last name. Yeah. I'm wearing the EYL
that's
tour.
That's Dame right there.
Yeah. We got the EYL tour. Our first stop was LA. We did Brooklyn. We got a couple cities.
Shout out to the Brooklyn. We did crazy. We did a networking meet and greet in Brooklyn.
Nice.
It's like 300 people came out. It was like a rapper's in store. It looked crazy. Like,
it was a look.
The streets was flooded. It was
dope. Crazy. It's good. Listen to me. This is one of the best podcasts out here.
I appreciate that.
Dope.
Appreciate it.
Nothing but good things coming.
So everybody that's supporting it, either getting the merch or doing Patreon, we appreciate it. Love is love.
Yeah. So we coming to a city near you. I think the next stop is going to be Atlanta. We're going to do something big
on the tour.
You about to start moving around.
Yeah. Touch people. Atlanta, DMV. I want to go to Houston.
Yeah.
Toronto, Canada, too. We got a lot of support.
You said Jay Prince, so when we go to Houston.
Oh, you got to check in.
We gotta, what we're trying to do is like when we go to these tours, we're trying to bring people who've been on the podcast.
If you go out there, if he's in Houston, I'll definitely link you.
Yeah, so like you are now officially alumni of Legion, man.
Yeah,
so
that's
it. Welcome to the alumni club.
Sure. And the book tip, since we just talked about Jay Prince, is I'm going to say his book.
Please.
The Art of Respect.
The Art of Respect.
It's a good book. I listened to it, an audio book on iTunes, and so I definitely recommend it. It tells his whole story. It has Chris in there, has Chris's story in there. So definitely make sure y'all check that out. And
and we on Twitter.
I need some pub, Jay. I need some pub.
Oh yeah, we on Twitter now too. That's a fact. We just got on Twitter. Earn Your Leisure on Twitter. Follow that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and keep subscribe to iTunes.
Check out Adventures if you are an independent artist for sure.
No, that's a fact.
Sign up. Let's go.
You gotta do that.
The studio's crazy.
We working.
All right, y'all. Thank you for rocking with us. We appreciate it. We see y'all next week. Peace.